A cry for peace around the world. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Town criers, raise your voices and together cry with me, remembering those brave men and women in our history. The battle's over, a nation's tribute remembers them one and all. Be proud and stand united. Don't let your memories fall. Confidence is what we need so that nations trust each other and all the races of mankind treat each other as a brother. Food for every living thing by nature is provided. If we could only see, it was equally divided. The woods and streams, the mountains high, the sea and golden shore were never ever meant to be the cause of senseless bloody war, or race for powerful or armaments and sacrifice of youth. But a world of true contentment, built on faith and trust and truth. Peace to the world. God save the Queen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As Lord Mayor of this city, I would like to welcome you all here tonight on this, the centenary of Armistice Day. As someone who is half German and half British, today has a special resonance for me, as 3 or 4 generations ago, members on both sides of my family fought on opposing sides of that arbitrary line of trenches which divided Europe from the Channel to the Swiss Alps. Today, though, is a day where we come together and think of and pray for reconciliation and peace between the nations of our world, and remember all those who gave their lives in the wars that haunt our history. With that in mind, I would like to read a tribute to the millions. Let us remember those who so selflessly gave their lives at home and abroad, whose sacrifice enables us to enjoy the peace and freedom we have today. Let us remember those who came home wounded, physically and mentally, and the friends and family who cared for them. Let us remember those who returned to restore their relationships and rebuild their working lives after years of dreadful conflict and turmoil. Let us remember the families that lost husbands, sons and sweethearts. Let us remember the servicemen, the merchant seamen, the miners, the brave civilians and others from the Commonwealths and Allied countries who fought, suffered and died during 4 years of war. Let us remember those in reserved occupations and the brave people who kept us safe on the home front, the doctors and nurses who cared for the wounded, the women and men who toiled in the fields, those who worked in the factories, who all played such a vital role in the war effort at home. I'd now like to invite Matilda Sheikey, who will read some local words from people who fought in the First World War.
A family friend, Jenny, showed me this poem her granddad wrote in his diary. He was sent to Gallipoli at 18 years old when he wrote this. Thankfully, he did survive the war. To the men who fell at Gallipoli. In Gallipoli, the land of death, beneath the blood-stained shore, the ashes of our heroes rest in silence evermore. No tablet marks their resting place, no monument their grave. Within a hollowed trench they lie, the ashes of the brave. They fought the fight and died like men, their deeds will ever be a beacon light, a shining ray, consigned to history. And generations yet unborn will still this homage pay to those young men who gave their lives and souls at Suvla Bay. To this, I would like to add an excerpt from a card to my great-great-grandmother Emma from her brother Charlie. It reads, "For the past, remembrance. For the present, good wishes. For the future, bright hopes." Charlie was killed in August 1918.
For the Fallen, a poem by Lawrence Binyon. With proud thanksgiving, a mother for her children, England mourns for her dead across the sea. Flesh of her flesh they were, spirit of her spirit, fallen in the cause of the free. Solemn the drums thrill, death august and royal, sing sorrow up into immortal spheres. There is music in the midst of desolation, and a glory that shines upon our tears. They went with songs to the battle, they were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end, against odds uncountered. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. They mingle not with their laughing comrades again. They sit no more at familiar tables of home. They have no lot in our labour of the daytime. They sleep beyond England's foam. But where our desires are and our hopes profound, felt as a wellspring that is hidden from sight, to the innermost heart of their own land they are known, as the stars are known to the night, as the stars that shall be bright when we are dust, moving in marches upon the heavenly plain, as the stars that are starry in the time of our darkness. To the end they remain.
We're coming to the end of a solemn day. 100 years ago, the relief felt in this country, throughout Europe and across the world was immense. One of the deadliest conflicts in human history had come to an end. Few were the families untouched by it. And as the darkness fell on November the 11th, 1918, people were exhausted as well as relieved. And yet the war did cause significant change, social change. Some of the barriers of class, creed, race and gender were no longer quite so secure in 1918 as they had been 4 years before. Men from very different backgrounds had served alongside one another and discovered a common humanity. Differences of religious belief, political conviction, culture or education had faded just a little. And the contribution of women to the war effort meant it was inevitable that after the war all women should get the vote. Many believed that the lesson of the First World War would be that no one would ever want to go to war again. The League of Nations was established with high hopes and expectations, and they were dashed. The one thing we learn from history is that human beings do not seem to learn from history. But we wouldn't be gathered here this evening if we had learned nothing at all. So let's give thanks for what we may take for granted just a bit too easily. We no longer think it remarkable that people of different religious traditions and faiths, or none, should come together to light a beacon or ring out bells in the cause of peace. We're no longer amazed that people of different ethnicity, gender and sexuality should witness together for peace. We are no longer surprised that this evening, gathered here, are people from Germany, France, the United States, Sweden, and I'm sure other countries too, here in Norwich. And as we turn from commemorating the past to looking to the future, we should celebrate this unity between peoples and nations, which now seems almost routine. And if we do not celebrate and treasure such a drive towards unity and peace, then the future will be very bleak. For we live in a world which appears to be nurturing ever-narrow nationalism, suspicion of the stranger, and fear of those who are different. And if we want to make peace, we must celebrate the unity we represent in this fine city tonight. Because it is still a dark world in which to light a beacon of hope. It is a noisy world of division in which our bells of peace will ring out. We cannot afford to be exhausted. There is still great work for peace to be done. And it begins with you and with me. May God bless each and every one of you. Amen.
Amen.
All across the land today, people have been remembering those who have fallen in war. At this hour, all across the land, beacons are being lit. And as our beacon is lit here in Norwich, we hope and pray for light and hope and peace to be shared in our world today.
Oh, yes.
we pray for peace in our world, that peace needs to begin with each one of us. So now I invite you to turn to someone near you, perhaps someone you haven't met before, and offer them a sign of peace. Peace be with you all.
And with thy spirit.
We're surrounded by people we know. I know you do. Sorry, the kind of public noise.
We've got 2 minutes before the bells are going to ring, so you can share a bit more peace.
Hey.
Shall I go? Is that any better?
What's this? No.
Peace be with you, John. Peace be with you, James.
What do you think, they're young?
Older. Normally you see them toddling down, and they say 68.
Does John drive at those? Okay, because I thought Roger told me to taxi.
Taxi isn't coming, John.
We stand.
Leonard Charles Frederick Chapel, Harry Charles,
We'll get going.
George Brian Edward Chase, Henry Chatham, Albert Ernest Chenery, Charles Cheney, Joseph Cheney, Cecil Chattelberg, Charles William Chattelberg, Claude Arthur Chattelberg, Claude Arthur Chattelborough, Edward Albert Chattelborough, Herbert Chattelborough, Henry Chilvers, Henry Chilvers, Oscar John George Chilvers, Victor Nelson Chilvers, William Chilvers, William John Chilvers, William John China, Alfred Chipperfield, Bertram James Frederick Chittlebrough, Herbert Ralph Chittick, William Ernest Chiverton, Charles Henry Cheney, Harry William George, John Church, Edward Albert Churchill, Richard George Churchill, Thomas Darby, William John Farrell, Edgar Sidney, Ernest Frank